As a reminder, well, not a reminder, it's new. So going forward, we're going to actually start the meeting at 12:15 so that people have time to get here and start socializing. 11:30, 11:45 just doesn't seem to work for people's schedule anymore. So starting the next meeting, still show up at the regular time. We're not really going to kick this off until 12:15. Also, as you can see, we've removed some of the chairs in the back, so if you're late, you gotta sit. All right. Now we're ready for today's invocation of pledge of allegiance, and that will be offered by Pete Barnhart.
Let us pray. As an aside, I've been thinking through these entire years from 2020 to now, and after what's been going on in the first half of 2022, we need to really rally the 1.2 million Rotary members throughout the world to do these things right here: club service, community service, international service, right down through just all of that. But as we gather here today as members of Rotary, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render that service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world. We bless the food we served this day and those who made it. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Pete. Teresa, do you introduce visiting Rotarians guests?
We do. We have, I see Scott Lawrence. He's on the Zoom. And our speaker will be announced in a minute. And we have Bill visiting from the Worthington AM Club. And we'll get to announcements in a minute.
One clap welcome.
Oh, visiting Rotarian, get the one clap welcome. Again, 3, 2, 1.
There we go. It's better.
I think that's all.
All right.
Bala is still a guest, he
I know.
reminded me.
Which I
I'm
will.
pretending he's not.
I was gonna make an announcement about we are looking for a membership share so that poor Paula doesn't have to wait on me, the president, being the bottleneck, and other future members. So if you think you can be membership share, please reach out to me. I've got Paul Sinkar, Peggy Murgatroyd, John Butterfield. They're all champing at the bit to help. I just need a leader, somebody that's organized and detail oriented. So that's all I'll say about that. We'll get Paula circulated to the club formally and introduced as a new member ASAP. You can blame me for the delay. All right, now we're ready for our sergeant, Mr. Ken Carey.
Steve. Todd, get the pot. You got young legs. You can walk if you want. Used to have young legs. Happy Dollars All Start. A lot of reasons to be happy. Celebrated last weekend my 45-year high school class reunion. I remember when I thought being age 45 was old, much less being 45 years out of high school. Second Sunday had a best ever 72 at Worthington Hills, and finally get to have a boys' night out with my son tonight. We're going down to see Roger Waters do Pink Floyd. Can't wait. Other Happy Dollars. Who's got it?
6 weeks in a row, baby.
Good for you. Good to see you. Good to have you.
22 after 15 holes, 16.
Let's go play. Put money on the line, and I'll show you. Anybody else? Happy bunch. Jerry.
I'm happy that my wife's over the COVID scare and that I never had it. But I certainly, let's see, what do I want to say? I sympathize with her, so I may have had some of those
Teams, what do you call those teams?
Sympathy paints.
Jerry, this entire club has sympathized with her for a long time.
And she
For a lot of
appreciates it.
different reasons. Others, happy Bucks.
Last Wednesday, I wasn't here because Judy and I were driving to Atlanta, to the Western Hotel in downtown Atlanta. For the next 4 days, I was in the Bay 55 General Convention with 750 other people throughout Canada and the United States. And on Sunday, when we were all done, at Judy the Atlanta Airport, she flew to Sarasota to join her actually Oregon daughter and granddaughter much earlier than last year. Last year in August, with the fires and smoke, the daughter Emily called and said, "Mom, I got to get out of town." She said, "You get airline tickets on, the keys to a place in Sarasota on CST." And they stayed August, September, and October. This year they came in June, and Judy said she'd visit. And she's doing that for about a week and a half. So she's having a great time.
George, you had your hand up.
I am moving into a permanent place as of this week. And that'll probably be my last move, but I'm looking forward to it. Where is it gonna be?
Where you going?
I'm going to First Community Village.
Fantastic.
It's at the corner of Fifth Avenue and Riverside Drive.
Oh,
And quite a few people there that I've known for a long time. They're my age, so we'll have a good time.
Good luck to you there. You'll never have to cook another meal. Who else? Happy Bucks.
Yeah, I forgot. I haven't been here since I got back from New Orleans. That was a great trip.
Steve?
I'm happy to be back. I went on a salmon charter in Olcott, New York, which is just north of Buffalo, late last week, and I caught a nice salmon. Got a freezer full of salmon. Got to go with my dad, so it was a great trip, and I'm glad to be back.
When are you hosting us all for a cookout for that, Sam?
Soon.
Anybody else? Happy Bucks. All right, moving on. Who here is not signed up for the rah-rah on the 31st of August? If you have not signed up, that's going to cost you $1. On that note, college buddy of mine by the name of Rich Burns sings, plays guitar and piano at the Blarney Stone every Wednesday night starting at 7 o'clock. So if you're there for the rah-rah, stick around. He's one of my fraternity brothers, so that makes him kind of a drunk, but he's very entertaining. Finally, as a young man growing up in the 70s, there were two entertainers that every boy admired, Farrah Fawcett and Olivia Newton-John. So in memory of Olivia Newton-John, everybody, please throw in a buck in honor for Battle of Breast Cancer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. All right, announcements. Tim Shears. Would you like to make your way up here to tell us a little bit about where you were earlier this week? And if anybody else has any other announcements, which I would think you do, yeah, Bill, come on up. We'll let Tim go first.
Thanks, Steve. Well, I wish Jennifer was here today because as some of you saw in the news, some of you saw on Facebook, Dolly Parton was in town yesterday. She joined Governor and Fran DeWine for the Imagination Library, Ohio. Jennifer is pivotally involved, therefore we are increasingly involved. Some of you have heard my dream that with regards to the Mongolian literacy work that we're doing, and now also in collaboration with Tom Carlisi's peace initiatives, we hope to be working more and more with the Imagination Library. In the meantime, I want to share with you, holy cow, it was standing room only at the Archie Griffin Ballroom at the Ohio Union. It was really splendid, and they announced that all 88 counties in Ohio have affiliates that are participating in Imagination Library. That means, you guys, that there's a kid in every county in Ohio that is getting a monthly book from Dolly Parton. There are ways for, I think that deserves a round of applause. There are going to be ways for us to further participate in that. I will be pleased to tell you more about that in the coming weeks. We'll have a little video next week about Mongolia, and with any luck, the Mongolians are coming to join us at the Zone 3031 Institute down in Chattanooga in late September. Then they'll be here for a week, and we'll have an opportunity for fellowship with them. So all good stuff. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Tim. Come on up.
All right, well, my name's Bill Grindle. I'm here from the Worthington AM Rotary Club. There's some tickets on your table. I'm here to promote. We have a raffle for 2 season tickets for the OSU Buckeye football season coming up, which means a lot in this town. I think we've got Michigan and Notre Dame this year. Both those games are included in the package. So tickets are $20 a piece, 3 for $50. Probably sell 400 to 500 of them, so your odds of winning are pretty good as well. I also will take a moment to report, seeing a couple of friendly faces here in the room, to let you know I should have thrown in a happy buck because on Friday of last week, we've had 26 clubs in our district participate in a global grant project to install 20 light pumps in Malawi, Africa. And on Friday of last week, we got our final distribution of funds from RI. They're now on their way to Malawi, Africa. All 20 light pumps have been installed. They're now going to be distributing soap and completing the wash training with everyone there. So some free flowing, water in Africa, and we all know how important that is. So thank you for your club for participating in that project as well. So absolutely. Oh, sorry, let me close up. I left an envelope. We'll go on the Is It the Truth honor system. So if you just fill out the top of the ticket, tear off the bottom of the ticket, stick your $20 or $50 in the envelope. I'll come around and collect them at the end to make it easy. Thank you.
Just a reminder for everyone who is interested in Ways and Means Committee will meet immediately after this meeting next Wednesday. So please do attend if you're interested. If you are not already signed up for the committee and receiving emails, let me know at the end of the meeting, and I'll make sure you're included in the next email about that meeting. Thank you.
And I would say go ahead and join that meeting even if you're not interested, so that you can become interested. Yeah. All right, other announcements. Just kind of an FYI, the Family Picnic Committee met yesterday. I can't even remember, 2 days ago. Just to talk about what was a success with the family picnic, what we should do better, and some great ideas for next year. And planning is already underway. Isn't that right, Joe?
That is correct. And I would just like to say that our retiring chair, of that committee has been carrying a giant burden and has been doing a magnificent job. We'd just like a round of applause for that. And it's daunting. And I would just like to say again, yes, we are organizing. We have some marvelously, very thoroughly engaged members and can use some more. We want to front load some fundraising efforts and would love to start doing more of that quite immediately. So let me know if you'd like to pitch in on that effort, and I'll be badgering further later. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Les. Who's great? All right. Bunny boxes. I believe we're still full, right, Christy? It's happening August 18th. So many people aware that that is something that our club's doing. Okay. Any other announcements? Anything I'm missing? Don.
Yeah. With my mouth full there. Community Service Committee will be meeting at 6 o'clock next Monday at Highline Coffee. We're going to try to do it virtually this time, so if you want to participate virtually, we will send out an email with instructions on how to do that. And if you're a member, obviously try to be there. If you're not a member, or becoming a member, please consider joining us. Thank you.
Excellent. And if you need to borrow the owl, by all means.
Yeah. You'll have to show me how to use it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, now I believe we are ready for our program. And our program is going to be introduced by Mr. Whitness.
As Rotarians and members of the community, we live a good life. And yet, a good life means that you have to clear out your houses once a week and there's trash involved. We're going to talk about that today. We have a lady here from the Solid Waste Authority of Central Ohio. Anybody know what that moniker name boils down to? SWACO. So the people that handle a lot of refuse and reassignment of trash, stuff like that, is under her purview. She's going to talk to us about how to be good people in the trash business. She grew up in Indiana, and her interest started because she came from a farm. She was out in the trees, playing a lot in fields of corn, and she just stuck with that. So when she went to college, she attended Purdue in the wildlife biology department. Started her career as an avian biologist in breeding sessions. So she had assignments in Texas, Colorado, Mississippi, and she then wanted to get into the field of waste management. And she finished up her study there at the University of North Dakota. She says that apart from talking trash, she enjoys growing her own food, traveling, and birding. Please welcome Amy Densberg.
Yeah, and
Hit the buttons.
left, right.
Got it.
That's it.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Lynn, for that wonderful introduction. And my name is Amy Densbar, and I've been with Waco for about 4.5 years. I'm your outreach administrator, so really I'm tasked with educating the public on the importance of reducing our waste, recycling, and safe disposal at the landfill. Has anyone ever heard of Waco before? Raise your hand. That's outstanding. I'm glad to hear it. So a little bit more about SWACO and what we do for Franklin County. That's our jurisdiction. We service all of 41 communities. That's 1.3 million residents. And our focus is to reduce our reliance on the landfill. As the owners and the operators of the landfill, we see all of the potential material that comes into the landfill that could have been recovered through recycling or composting. So that's our job, to develop those programs and services that focus on recovering those kinds of materials. So some of the programs we offer grant funding to communities, nonprofits, and schools to help them reduce waste and recycle. You can see Otterbein University was one of our grant recipients. We have a public recycling drop-off program for maybe folks who live in an apartment complex or a business that maybe doesn't have access to recycling. They can drop off their material at a convenient location for free. We have 52 of those sites all around the county. And then we also offer collection programs for hard to recycle materials. So you see tires, pharmaceutical waste, and electronic waste out there. Those are all items that do not belong in the landfill, but sometimes can be very difficult to find a way to recycle them. And then of course we offer education and outreach programs like the talk that I'm offering today. And we do provide tours of the landfill. If anyone's ever wondered what happens at the operations of the landfill, it's very eye-opening. Every year we host about 7,000 people at the landfill for a tour of our facility. I'd be happy to schedule that for you down the road if you want to do that. So why are we talking about trash? Well, first of all, trash is fascinating. I love it. But second of all, it's something that we all have in common, right? We all create trash. The average Franklin County resident produces about 9 pounds of trash per day. Half of that makes its way to be recycled or composted. The other half makes its way to the landfill. And we're a growing community. More people are moving to Columbus, Ohio. More people means more trash, that's right. The good news is, as a community, we're doing a pretty good job at reducing the amount of waste that we create, or reducing the amount of waste that we send to the landfill, I should say. So our diversion rate or recycling rate is 51%. The national average is 34%. So you guys are doing a pretty good job. Everyone deserves a pat on the back for that. Keep up the great work, but we want to do even better. We have the second highest diversion rate in the Midwest behind Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's talk about how much material makes its way to the landfill. We receive about 4,000 tons of material a day. 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. And I call it wasted materials because a lot of what comes to the landfill, it could have been recycled or composted. And we'll talk about what is inside the waste stream here in a little bit. It's equal to about 800 elephants, to give you a size reference. If you're like me and you haven't been to the zoo for a while, it's also equal to about 2,600 Toyota Priuses driving into the landfill every single day. And keep in mind, this is just one landfill in our community. There are 30 other landfills in the state of Ohio. There are over 2,000 landfills in the United States. So to keep you all awake and alert, we're gonna have a trivia question. What percentage of landfill materials have the potential to be reused, recycled, or composted? This is what's inside our Franklin County landfill. Throw some percentages out there. 60, higher. 80, lower. 75, yes. You're very close at 76%. So we know with 76% or 3/4 of the stream in the landfill being comprised of material that could have been recycled, reused, or composted, we can do better than this as a community. And we really do take that to heart at Swaco. So let's talk, I know this is really small for you guys to see. This information is publicly available on our website, swaco.org. I just want to talk about the 2 largest sources of material in the landfill. The #1 source being food waste. Does that surprise anyone? I think it's surprising. 40% of all the food that's grown in our country is wasted, according to the USDA. So it's grown and maybe makes it to the grocery store and then ends up in a trash can. So food waste makes up about 15% of the stream, or is equal to about 1 million pounds of food waste that we receive daily in our landfill. Swaco has set a goal of helping us to reduce food waste by 50% by 2032. We're bringing together stakeholders, local stakeholders to work together to find a way to reduce this waste. Not only is it important to feed hungry members of our community, but if it's food that's past its prime, can it maybe be fed to farmland, to like pigs or cows, or maybe can it be turned into compost, which goes right back into the soil. The second largest source of material inside the landfill, cardboard boxes, at 10% of the stream. Why do you think there are so many boxes in the landfill? Amazon Prime. I know it's very convenient. A lot of things that you can buy online these days, you can get a couch, you can get a mattress, those things come in really big boxes. And unfortunately, some of those boxes are still making their way to the landfill and they're 100% recyclable. And they even have value right now in the commodities market, meaning you can make a pretty penny by recycling them. So as parents, friends, colleagues, and neighbors, you are in an important position to make a measurable difference. And Swaco wants to help us achieve a goal of reaching a 75% diversion rate by 2032. We're at 51%. We have a ways to go, don't we? So what can you do to get involved? How can you contribute to this diversion goal of 75%? Knowing what's accepted for recycling will help us get there. So out of curiosity, how many of you recycle at home? That's wonderful. I love to see those hands of recyclers. So recycling is different everywhere you go. I think that's what makes recycling kind of confusing for a lot of folks, especially if you lived in other parts of Ohio or other parts of the country for that matter. In Franklin County, it is a private company that's processing the materials. It's not Swaco. We're your government entity, we're your solid waste district, public agency. Rotary is the company that's processing those materials, and they decide what's accepted based on who's willing to buy the material. There has to be a stable buyer or stable end user that's willing to buy these items to make them into something new. Things that you don't see included on the list, that's because no one's willing to buy them. Styrofoam, clamshells, plastic utensils, plastic plates, no one's willing to buy that type of material right now to make it into something new. Therefore, Rumpke doesn't accept it. So we're gonna quickly go through these, the do's and don'ts, and then I'm happy to take questions if that's okay, Win. Okay. All paper and cardboard is accepted. This now includes paper cups. Just started in February, so paper coffee cup, paper fast food cup, even something like a paper ice cream carton. If the paper tears, it's accepted. That's how you know you can include it. Plastic bottles, jugs, tubs, and cups. You'll see we don't go by the number system here in Franklin County or Columbus. We use the shape to determine if it's accepted for recycling. So tubs and jugs are pretty straightforward. Bigger bottom, they get narrow as they go to the top. Tubs are gonna be things that you might get from the dairy or the deli section. So think cottage cheese, sour cream, macaroni salad, hummus. And then cups are gonna be cups you get from Starbucks, Tim Hortons, McDonald's. That's one style cup that Rumpke does not currently have a buyer for, is a solo party style cup. I understand that can make it confusing. You're gonna do your best to remember the rules, but it's made from a different type of plastic that there is no buyer for at this time. All glass, oh, and I should also say that you want to leave your lids on all your plastics. The lids will also be recycled. There's this big misconception that I've heard over the years that lids cannot be recycled. They absolutely can. Just make sure you get your lids attached back onto your container. Glass bottles and jars, all colors are accepted. Even those metal lids can be recycled. Metal cans and cups, all carton containers. So if you have broth, juice, or milk, and then we want to really try to keep everything loose when we recycle materials. We don't want to place them inside bags. Unfortunately, when materials are inside bags, we can't guarantee they'll reach their full potential as a new product. Most likely what's going to happen is they're going to get picked off the line at the recycling facility. They're going to get put in a trash can and they're going to take a long detour down to the landfill. The folks that are processing and picking up contaminants at the recycling facilities simply don't have time to open all the bags. Bags are also considered tanglers. So you see on the not accepted side, we don't want bags and films. Those things can be recycled back to the grocery store. And then propane tanks, batteries, and other flammables, those should go back to the hazardous waste facility that Swaco owns and operates. I have some information on that today. Tanglers such as electronic cords and hangers also wreak havoc on the equipment, shut the machines down. And then plastic and foam and takeout food containers are not accepted at this time. That even includes something like clamshell container that like blueberries or salad comes in. It's because they don't have a buyer for that plastic right now. Do I think that as technology continues to get better, we're gonna see that added? I do, we're just not quite there yet. So I'll pause to see if there are any questions about certain materials. Yes, sir.
I have two questions. One is, my wife's fanatic when it comes to throwing away something. I got a little ketchup bottle. You need to clean out all the ketchup on the edge, or you just throw it away?
You do need to clean everything out. I just need to be 100% pristine when I do your best that you can. I recommend using the dirty sink water after you're done doing your dishes at nighttime. You don't need to use soap, you don't need to run it through the dishwasher. Yes, people do that, don't do that, it's a waste of resources. There's a little bit of rim left, that's okay, but we don't want there to be ketchup left in the bottle.
The other question is, you said they hand pick plastics?
They hand pick out contaminants, yes, sir. So there are people working out on the line, picking out all the things, all the trash essentially. Taking out the bowling balls, the pizza boxes, the clothing, getting it off the line so it doesn't hurt the equipment, damage the equipment, and that way it doesn't hurt somebody too. So there's about 10 to 20 people working, just picking off everything that people put in their recycling bin that it doesn't belong there. They also do free tours, which is very eye-opening for high school age and above. Yes, sir.
One of the things you said was you went by and had the symbol recycler, but a lot of rural Spanish things also have a symbol.
So what I said is that we do not go by the symbol here in Franklin County. We do not go by the symbol.
I don't do those anyway.
I'm getting some background noise here.
Yours says, let's accept and remove straws.
Oh, it's not okay.
Lids and-
And so no, we don't go by the numbers here. All the plastics have a numbering system on the bottom of them. That's just the plastic resin identification code. It's really for the plastic manufacturers. It's not really for us as a consumer. I understand it's confusing because it's been misused for so many years. But we're not focused on the numbers here. So if the plastics, is it a bottle, jug, tub, or a cup? That's how you know it goes in the recycling bin. And I also did bring some of these handouts today too. If anyone thinks that this would be beneficial to take home, put on their fridge, the recycling bin, for those folks that maybe live in your house that need a little friendly reminder of what goes in their recycling. Yes?
You have two things that are both to be recycled. Why does the top need to be on the container?
The top for the plastics, it doesn't have to be on the container, it's just more material that you can recycle. But if it's loose, what's gonna happen is it's gonna get caught up and mixed in with the glass stream, and it's going to contaminate the glass, and it's just gonna get picked out and then end up in a landfill. So it has to be reattached so it can become a new product. Yes?
Okay. In our neighborhood, we have a problem area. Streets are 26 feet wide. City of Columbus says you cannot put your containers in the street. People ignore that. You have an enormous traffic hazard on the two trash cans. Can you do anything about that? Like, got some Boy Scout groups to go around and put stickers on these, some kind of solution so that we don't have this significant traffic hazard.
Yeah, so you would, if you live in the city of Columbus and you're serviced by the city of Columbus refuse, you want to call them to talk to them about that. That's not our jurisdiction. We own and operate the landfill and develop programs, but we're not ones actually servicing your containers.
Who collects the blue containers?
Rumpke. Rumpke can collect the blue containers and they take it to their facility to be recycled.
So you're saying that I've got to go out and.
I would just call.
And.
I can give you the contact number of the public service director for City of Columbus, and you can make a phone call or send him an email and see if there's something that can be done. Yes, Wynn?
What about things like refrigerators or vacuum cleaners, larger or a weightlifting machine?
Yes, good question. So sort of hard to recycle materials, we have a search tool, it's called recycleright.org. I'm gonna go over that here in a second. There are places that will take that material and recycle it on your behalf. We don't want that material in the landfill. So typically, City of Columbus won't even pick out things like refrigerators, washers, and dryers because they have to pay to recycle it at their facility. And so you usually have to take it to a recycler. So there's a couple different recyclers here in Columbus. One's called Mark Ray Enterprise. They take anything with Freon, so like an EC or a refrigerator. And then another one's called Accurate IT. They take any kind of a small appliance like your vacuum cleaner or like an old broken TV.
What about Rumpke? That's what they pick up.
Rumpke does not want that material for recycling. They can't process that material. They can only process these materials that we just talked about. That's all their facility is able to process. Anything else they can't take. So it's just gonna take a long detour down to the landfill. Yes, sir.
I've heard all of them, they said they'd take my weight material.
Okay. Well, there we go. Yes, go ahead.
It's my understanding that you can recycle hardback books, but you cannot recycle paperback books.
You can recycle paperback books in your recycling bin. Hardback books, no. Hardback books, you want to rip out the paper on the inside and then throw the bounds in the trash. That's okay. I knew what you meant. All right, so some of the non-accepted materials that come with the new cups expansion, party cups, straws, coffee cup lids. The lids on your paper cups are not accepted. Styrofoam cups and K-cups and coffee pods. Again, you're gonna do the best you can to remember all that. I understand it's a lot. So what's not accepted? These are some of the common questions that we receive from the public. Black takeout food containers are still not accepted. Rumpke doesn't have a buyer for black plastic at this time. Clamshells, which you might get strawberries or a salad in. Prescription medicine bottles and over-the-counter medicine bottles, and that's due to their size. They're smaller than your cell phone. They're likely to slip through the screens of the facility and end up on the floor. That's why they don't accept them. My recommendation to you is to try to purchase your over-the-counter medicine in like a bulk bottle, which you can usually see a cost savings to with getting it in a larger size, and then divvy it out into a smaller container, and then that whole larger bottle can be recycled because it's big enough. And then nursery containers or pots or flats are not accepted either. If you can, take those back to your nursery that you buy them from, and those can be reused. So some Home Depot, some Lowe's will take them back. So there's a question earlier about the recycling symbol. This is really just a resin identification code, is to tell you the type of plastic you're holding. There are 7 types of plastics that we use commonly as consumers. Your 1s, your 2s, those are going to be like your water bottles, your milk jugs. Your 4s, things like plastic bags, and 5s are things like plastic tubs, cottage cheese and yogurt. Those are the most common ones, but keep in mind, just because it has that symbol doesn't mean it's accepted for recycling. So your efforts to recycle right ensure that materials can reach their full potential as something new. So for example, here in Franklin County, when we recycle plastic bottles, they will go on to become fiber fill for sleeping bags and jackets, carpet, more plastic bottles, play sets, and even things like strapping for cars. So Rumpke sends 100% of all their material, stays here in the US, with 80% of it staying right here in the state of Ohio. So we have stable recycling markets right here in the Midwest. Rumpke is not reliant on overseas or Asian markets. They never have been. And so you can rest assured that when you place something in your recycling bin, it is going to be turned into a new product right here in the Midwest to support our local economy. Here's some example of where some of the materials are going here in Ohio. So steel doesn't even leave Columbus, it stays right here. Plastic goes to Ironton, New Albany, and Bowling Green. All the glass goes to Zanesville, where it's going to become fiberglass insulation for homes, and additional food packaging, glass bottles and jars. And then paper and cardboard all goes to Wappa, Connecticut, to Pratt Industries, where it's going to become new cardboard boxes for Amazon Prime, as well as new tissue paper and toilet paper. So you guys know recycling is good for the environment. It's probably why you started doing it, right? You want that feel-good feeling and know that you're cutting down pollution, you're conserving resources, plus you're conserving landfill space, which we don't have endless landfill space in the US. But it does also boost a more resilient economy. So here in Central Ohio, the recycling industry supports 5,000 employees, totaling $1.3 billion in annual revenue. So I mentioned earlier about a search tool for hard to recycle materials. So we had mentioned things like a refrigerator, a broken vacuum cleaner, an old TV that you no longer are using. There's a website, it's called recycleright.org. It's going to be at the bottom of this cling if you decide you want to take it home today. It has over 300 locations to take your hard to recycle materials. If you're on our website, you're having a hard time finding the material and you want to divert from the landfill, you can always email us, info@swaco.org, or call us Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We have someone answering the phones all day. We're happy to point you in the right direction. What about old old paints and batteries and pesticides. What do you do with those things? I hope you don't throw them away in your trash or recycle them. I want you to take those to Swaco's hazardous waste facility, and I have information on that too. It's the orange card at the front table. This facility is a permanent facility, open Wednesday through Friday. We'll take anything toxic or flammable material that certainly could be harmful to the environment. We don't want it leaching in the landfill, and we certainly don't want it contaminating the recycling process. We also do co-host collection events with various communities throughout the year. September is right around the corner. Westerville's not too far from here. There'll be an event September 10th in Westerville, and there'll be another one September 24th in Grove City. If those Wednesday through Friday hours don't work for you. So even things like alkaline batteries, lithium ion batteries, we will recycle for you. It's the only place that I know of that will take batteries for free for recycling here in Franklin County. Okay, that is my spiel. Does anyone have questions about recycling or hard recycled materials?
Got a lot of questions. but
Yeah.
The, 4,000 tons a day,
Yes.
it seems like a lot. When I drive down to like Grove City, I'm like, man, that's a big pile. Like, can you talk about the future of waste management and kind of the secondary part? There seems like anybody in the name of innovation and creativity can create any product, but maybe the life cycle, like what happens to that product isn't really, there's not much regulation, or maybe I don't know about it. Is
No,
there
you're right, there isn't any regulation. So they're starting to develop what's called the producer responsibility. It's legislation that's being, I think it's been passed in Maine and California, where if you create a product, it has to be recycled in that state. There has to be a market for it. But so far, it's only the really progressive states that have made that sort of policy. And so it's happening. I think that change is happening right now where the life cycle of the product is being considered. We're just not there yet in Ohio. So, but I do think you see a lot of companies that are making those commitments to use so much post-consumer recycled content in their new products. So for example, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, and Nestle, they made commitments to have by 2035, something like that, maybe 2030, something like 50% of post-consumer recycled plastic in their new plastic bottles. So that way, the demand for recycling continues to grow, and then they're investing in the recycling economy. So we are seeing some changes like that taking place right now, but in terms of the life cycle of products, you're absolutely right. That needs to be more of a focus point. Like, styrofoam, in my opinion, shouldn't be allowed anymore. I know you were using it today, but there's no way to recycle it. It's almost impossible. There's one place that can recycle it, Hilliard, if you have blocks of it. Like if you order a new TV or a new computer, you get those big blocks in your box, or styrofoam coolers. But they don't want things like food packaging and styrofoam egg cartons or styrofoam peanuts, which is the stuff that we use, right, for eating and drinking. So there's no way to recycle that material right now. And so some things that in some states have banned it, they won't allow it to be sold anymore in the stores, but we're not there in Ohio yet.
My first question briefly, is there a capacity concern at the landfill?
So there absolutely is a capacity at the landfill. Our landfill has 42 years of life left. We hope to get even more life out of it as we continue to improve our rates of recycling, but you have to also keep in mind we're a growing community. But as more people move here, more apartments are being built, more homes are being built, more waste is making its way to our landfill. So that landfill one day will be full, and we'll have to site a new property and build a new landfill. We're not there yet though. We're not siting the new lands for where the new landfill will go, but probably 10 to 15 years prior to this one reaching capacity, we will need to start looking for a new location.
20, 25, 30 years ago, we had a trash burning.
Power plant.
And the power plant was burn trash.
That's right.
Trash, go through and produce electricity for the southern half of Franklin County.
That's right.
Not all Franklin County in the area. And after they had a number of incidents of things blowing up in the process, they shut it down. And I think it cost someplace heading towards about $1 billion.
And you know who incurred that debt? Swaco. We paid off that debt.
I know that.
Yeah. So that's, and incineration is a very popular method of destroying trash. What's great, there's pros and cons to each method, and I could talk about this all day long, but I don't want to bore everyone, but the pros of incineration is you take a big volume of trash and you bring it down to a small little volume of ashes that then have to be disposed of in the landfill. So you see incinerators very popular in densely populated areas like in Europe. They don't have space for landfills there. In Ohio, we have lots of land. And so landfilling is much cheaper technology than incineration. It was going to be billions and billions of dollars to get that incinerator or smokestacks up to code. So it wasn't releasing dioxins and chemicals into the air, polluting the people that lived around. And at the time, it didn't make a lot of sense to do that when we knew that we could just build a landfill and it would be a tenth of the cost.
I have a follow-up question, completely different. I know that this is kind of personal trash. We talk about personal homes, recycling. In the business commercial world, throughout the entire United States, we got a bunch of windmills, and it might be my understanding that you cannot, once that has met its life, it cannot be used, the windmills, to produce electricity when they die. That cannot, those materials and that great big windmills, the big column, my understanding is they cannot be recycled, along with such things as Tesla batteries. Where do we go with all that?
So I'm not a windmill expert. I thought windmills were made out of like some sort of steel or metals. I thought we could scrap those, but again, not a windmill expert. Trash is my focus here. And so I think you're referring to the batteries, maybe?
Yeah.
The batteries I thought could be recycled, but I don't know. I don't know enough to be able to accurately answer that question. So I need to do a little research to be able to get back to you on that one. But batteries that you would use in your house, absolutely. Power tool batteries, car batteries, lithium ion, AA, AAA, all of those can be recycled with us. But you're right, the commercial stream makes up a big component of the landfill. And we have someone on our team whose job it is to work with businesses to help them implement recycling programs. And that program is certainly growing too. Any other questions? Yes.
So do you have bins that we could use for one day when we do our picnic? So people can throw the recyclables?
Yeah, I do. I got information on that today. So it's called the Container Loan Program. And it's a free program. It's for Franklin County. Anyone that has a public event in Franklin County can borrow the containers from us. And if you don't have a recycling program on site where we were hosting the event, you're welcome to utilize our Swago drop-off program. Take it to one of our public drop-offs, it's free, and then we'll make sure it gets recycled on your behalf. Yes, sir.
You didn't talk about compost. I started composting and it's available on Dublin.
Worthington has composting too. Yeah.
And we reduced by weight about 75%.
Yes. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, good work.
And about 50% of sod or trash. We're all
Yeah, that's the future, absolutely, is a three bin system, having a food waste container, food waste and yard waste is all gonna go in one container, recycling and then trash, so it'll be 3 containers instead of just 2. There are several food waste drop-off programs that communities have hosted, so it sounds like you're participating in the one in Dublin. Worthington has one, Hilliard, Upper Arlington, Grandview Heights, Grove City, there's a bunch more I'm probably forgetting. If you want to get on our website, swago.org, you can find the full list of those locations and then contact your local community to see if you can get signed up so you can take your food scraps to a drop-off location. If you don't live in a community that has a drop-off, you can also pay for a service to have it picked up. It runs about $5 a week. They pick it up at your door in a 5-gallon bucket and they do all the composting for you. If you're committed to composting yourself, any composters at home that do it in the Water Conservation District, they provide rebates to purchase a compost bin that you can place in your backyard and you can do the composting yourself. So you're right, I did not go over that because there's so much I could go over and we don't have so much time. Should probably be that time.
Any other questions?
Your trash should be so excited. Thank you.
I tried.
All right. We got just a few minutes left as usual. So next week's presentation will actually be given by our newest club member. You may not be aware of it because I've done a bad job promoting him, Paula. Also the club member, Robin's husband. He's got quite an interesting life, as I understand it, so he's gonna share his experiences with us, and it should be pretty good. He disappeared. So it should be good, so make sure you're here next week. All right, now we're ready for our raffle. 15 in the daily.
Last four numbers are 1427.
1427. Is that you, Court? Yeah.
I want to be curious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And this rate is $37. I guess we have winners.
37 in the ace of spades.
And that is 1449.
1449. And carry. So we got Ken drawing one. Then who was the winner last week? Jim Miller? No.
Me.
Oh, it was Rob. Rob, can you, and your behalf?
I'll let Ken, you can pull it for me.
Okay.
Ken went first.
Ken goes first. Come on, Ken.
Carried over a couple weeks ago.
37 bucks.
Yeah, but we're not, is he today's winner?
He's today's winner also.
Be the first to pull. Whoever was supposed to pull 3 weeks ago should be the.
Was also Ken.
That pull was you.
So it's gonna go Ken, Roe, Ken.
See the things you miss when you're not here?
I know. You did.
Sure.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
10 hours. Now I'm gonna pull for Roe.
Good draw.
6 of diamonds. All right, Ken. Get back on track here. King of diamonds. All right.
Nice draw.
He's still.
Did good.
All right, so before we wrap up, let's do the 4-way test. If you will repeat with me the things we think, say, and do. First is the truth. Second is
Fair to all concerned.
Third, will
Goodwill and better friendships.
And fourth, will be
Beneficial to all concerned.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. We are adjourned.